Like birds of a feather, Trump supporters keep getting caught trying to scam their fellows out of money. Now, this is from a recent report in the Daily Beast. A member of the United Constitutional Patriots, that's one of those border militia groups, has been accused of running a supposed scam charity that preys upon low information Trump voters. Now, the man at the center of these allegations is a man named Jim Benvey, who is also, by the way, the spokesman for the self-described border vigilante group. So, first of all, that's what we need, border vigilantes. These are the ones that, of course, walk around with weapons and they menace undocumented immigrants or people coming in from Mexico, migrants, some of which, of course, are fleeing violence and people with guns in their own, home countries and come here for safety, and they end up getting accosted by, I hate to say it, but fat, bearded white guys with guns. So that's super disturbing. These people that also would pretend that they're border patrol and illegally apprehend migrants. So these guys are no joke and very, very problematic. In fact, there were some of the members, or at least one of the member, that said, why don't we just line them up and shoot them? So, and look, this group, again, not everybody, because there was a person in this very same group that pointed that out and said, hey, we don't want anything to do with that guy, who literally praised Hitler and, thought that lining them up or gassing them would be a great way to deal with migrants. At least credit to them, they have some people that are like, hey, let's not go that far. We're not interested. But nonetheless, not exactly filled with the greatest people. And Jim Benvey apparently is one of those people who was apparently not so great, at least according to this report. Now, the Daily Beast reports that newly unearthed court documents show that Benvey had been arrested for fraudulently claiming to be collecting cash for a child with cancer, while also being in possession at the same time of a stolen truck. So now wait a minute here. This is starting to sound like a little bit like a country song. My truck got stolen, and then they stole my money for trying to raise money for some kid with cancer that doesn't exist. I'm sure George Strait or whatever can work that into a song. I don't know. Anyway, according to the report, although Benvey was eventually charged with stealing the truck, prosecutors did not press charges against him for the allegedly fraudulent charity work. Now, I'm kind of curious as to why that happened. Because, according to the police reports, these officers were dispatched last July to a local fried chicken chain restaurant after receiving reports of a stolen vehicle parked there. Could this story get any more redneck? And I'm not saying all rednecks are bad, but here you got the stolen pickup truck, and then you got the local chicken place, but it gets a little bit better. Inside the restaurant, they allegedly found Benvey asking restaurant goers for money while holding a blue bucket filled with cash. Because every legit charity begins with a stolen truck and ends in a bucket full of cash. Wow. Now, according to the police lieutenant who was on the scene in that fine establishment, because, hey, I love fried chicken, Benvey apparently looked less than innocent. Quote, when Benzie observed me, he began to look away and became very nervous. This is a police officer saying that, right? So a lot of you conservatives, you blue no matter who people, you should immediately be like on the side of the police officer when he says this. Now, the lieutenant also said in a sworn affidavit that, quote, it's believed that Benvey was committing fraud by collecting donations for a child with cancer that he was unable to provide him the information about. No information on the child that he's supposedly raising money for with his blue bucket o' cash. Does that not sound suspicious? I wonder how much money he raised anyway in that fine chicken establishment. I'm my God. It's how dumb are people? You're just going to give to a guy, like, okay, best of intentions, right? Even if you've got great intentions, you got to think for a minute. Is this person legit? Is he literally trying to steal my cash? It is, okay, what, like the first thing, somebody comes up to me with a blue bucket of cash and says, I'm raising money for a cancer kid. Do you have a picture? What's the kid's name? What kind of cancer is it? What kind of treatment is he undergoing? Are you raising money for? Where can I find more information? Why is your truck stolen? Okay, then again, I probably wouldn't know that specifically at that point, but nonetheless, it's an interesting question to ask. Where'd you get that truck? Interesting. But anyway, as far as this is, it's super, super low. Look, everybody knows the real good way to scam Trump supporters is to try to build a GoFundMe for a wall. Well, no, that's the way to do it. You'd be rich by the time most people catch on. Because, you know how I know? Because I've already done that story. We've already seen that happen. Or, of course, to take it from the master himself and set up a fake university. Boy, you'll get money in no time, let me tell you. But then again, seriously though, this is very gross. Raising money from people for a supposedly sick child that doesn't actually exist. No name, no nothing, no diagnosis, just, hey, raising money for cancer kid, just put your money in the bucket. But as bad as this is, it does not surprise me, as Donald Trump himself is the king of grift. I mean, that is literally the art of the deal, or you should really call it the art of the steal. His foundation himself, that he ran himself, took donor money and spent it on himself. He has run numerous scams on both donors and banks stupid enough to lend him money. And you know what happened? He lost over $1 billion in loans. Went bankrupt 6 times. And you know what's most damning about that? When he lost all that money, he relied on daddy's money to keep up his lavish lifestyle. That's who Trump is. That's their role model. That's their hero. I guess would it be a surprise that some of them turn out to be just like the person that they idolize? Doesn't shock me at all. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.